That's always fun to just say good morning and everybody gets quiet. Feels kind of powerful. So welcome. I'm Teresa Rand. I'm Daytona State College Entrepreneur in Residence. So all that's just a fancy word for I help coordinate this. I do some other things for the entrepreneurship program here at the college. But today, I'm always excited about this event, Dr. Labasso, but I'm really excited today to have the young man that you're going to meet in a little bit. You're going to be able to relate to him, relate to his college experience, and now his very successful business experience that has some Daytona State background to it. And then what your high school's here, your former high school, Matanzas High. I saw you hug a teacher. So if you are here from a high school, let's hear from you. Like, woohoo, do something. Yeah. There we go. Little school spirit. Somebody stood up. I love it. We have almost 300 high schoolers here. So we are thrilled, and thank you, teachers and administration, for getting these high school students here. And then we have a whole section of Daytona State College students, so let me hear from you. I think the saying is, it's a great day to be a Falcon. So welcome. And without further ado, I am going to turn the stage over to Dr. Labasso to do some important work around scholarships.
Thank you, and welcome, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Well, welcome to Daytona State College and our 29th presentation of the Gale Lemerand Entrepreneurial Speakers Series. Our guest speaker today is a local entrepreneur and Daytona State alumni, Erik Libby. Erik, the founder and CEO of the To-Do Dudes, a fast-growing home service company that hires local students to help homeowners with moving, yard work, and odd jobs. Erik, thank you for joining us today and for being willing to share your insights with our students. I'd like now to provide a little background about today's event. Since our founding in 1957, Daytona State has played an important role in preparing students for the careers of tomorrow. Our graduates have gone on to become entrepreneurs, business owners, and industry innovators. All of us at Daytona State are very proud that we've played a small role in their success as they've left us to go on and do great things. This speaker series was started by Bernie Simpkins, a dear friend of the college who passed in 2020. Bernie was a successful county businessman and philanthropist who launched a series at Eastern Florida State College, with which Daytona State has a great relationship with. Bernie's vision was to inspire students to become our next generations of innovators and entrepreneurs. The Gale Lemerand Student Center for Entrepreneur was established in 2007 by Mr. Lemerand, who is a longtime Volusia County resident, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. The center presents the speaker series twice a year to encourage and inspire students to strive for success in their careers and to be mindful of the principles of successful entrepreneurs. Now it's time to introduce the recipients of the 2025 Gale Lemerand Entrepreneur Speaker Series scholarships. But first, I would like to ask Mr. Lemerand to please join me on stage.
As I hobble up here. Okay.
All right. A little bit about Mr. Lemerand. As one of the nation's leading entrepreneurs, Gale Lemerand has founded more than 100 companies, served as vice chair of the District Board of Trustees, and is a philanthropist to many colleges and civic programs in the region. Mr. Lemerand, Gale has been a tremendous, going off script here, just a tremendous supporter of a lot of things, but for Daytona State, he's very special. He supported us with our Lemerand Athletic Center, the beautiful student center. Hopefully you get to see that today. His funding helped us with our first residence hall that we have on campus, which has been a complete game changer for us. So Gale, you know, from the bottom of my heart and Daytona State family and trustees, we want to thank you. Gale has funded today's scholarships to help Daytona State students who are aspiring entrepreneurs. Recipients are selected based on professors' recommendations and classroom performance. We have awarded more than 80 scholarships since the program was established in 2007. Gale, would you like to say a few words before we name our recipients?
Sure. Hello, everybody, and good morning. I am thrilled to be here, to say the least. Thrilled to see all of you young men and women and future business leaders. And you will be. And boy, you're getting a great start by doing things like attending series like this that you might see in different parts of the country and the school. I'm so proud to be with my friend Tom Labasso. He's done so much for this school since I was on the board. It's just wonderful, and to see so many young people is gratifying. I don't want to take a lot of words, but a lot of time, but I am proud, and I'm very proud to be a part of the Daytona State family. Thank you.
Thank you, Gale, and thank you. Knowing Gale over the years, he's been one modest, but very open to his successes and the basic hard work it takes to be an entrepreneur. And then he wrote a book, Bet on the Jockey, his story is about surrounding himself with really good people, treating them well, paying them well. So if you get a chance, read that book. And again, Gale, thank you for everything you do. At this time, we would like to present the scholarships and take photos with the winners. Please join us as we call your name. Armando Alvarez. Come on up, Armando. All right, I want to tell you a little bit about Armando. Armando has a goal of creating a company to help small and medium-sized businesses improve how they move and deliver products, making their operations more efficient and cost-effective. He is working towards a Bachelor's of Science in Supervision and Management with a concentration in supply chain management. I've always been curious about how products move from one place to another, he says. That curiosity turned into a passion as I learned how much impact supply chains have on business success. Armando, whose academic success has earned him a place on the Dean's List, will use the scholarship to give him time to focus on his studies and refine his business plan. Being an entrepreneur is about solving problems and staying committed, he says, and this scholarship will help me take the first steps towards turning my vision into a business that truly makes a difference. Congratulations, Armando. Let's get some photos here. I'll get on this side here.
It's okay.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Our next recipient, Rosa McMillan, come on up. All righty, we'll get to tell you a little bit about Rosa. Throughout her life, Rosa McMillan has found joy in brightening people's day, whether through caregiving or styling hair. Her goal is to open up a med spa that blends beauty service with holistic health care, offered at prices everyone can afford. As a cosmetologist and certified nursing assistant, I'm dedicated to enhancing beauty and providing compassionate health care, Rosa says. Seeing smiles and offering comfort fuels my passion for both fields. Currently pursuing her Associate of Arts degree, Rosa has already demonstrated her drive for excellence, earning a place on the President's List twice and being recognized as the most outstanding trainee by the Pinellas County Job Corps, among other honors. This scholarship will allow me to fully dedicate myself to achieving my educational and entrepreneurial goals. Rosa says that the freedom it provides will empower me to open my successful med spa business and create a positive impact on my community. Congratulations, Rosa. All righty. Our next recipient, Mirza Moretta, come on up. A little bit about Mirza. From an early age in Brazil, Mirza Moretta was captivated by the power of design to tell stories and inspire connection. Today, she dreams of using her creativity to help small businesses and local entrepreneurs to stand out through thoughtful, purposeful design, purpose-driven design. Graphic design to me is more than creating and transforming, Mirza says. It's about helping clients express who they are, what they believe in, and what makes them unique. As an adult education student in Daytona State's English for Speakers of Other Languages program, Mirza is building the foundation for that dream, one step, one class, one goal at a time. This scholarship will allow me to take design courses and begin turning my dream into reality. She says, I believe opportunity knocks in different ways for everyone, and it is our choices that shape the future we imagine for ourselves. Congratulations, Rosa, and congratulations to all of our scholarship recipients. And Gale, thank you again. Rosa, congratulations. It's Mirza. Wrong name on that. There you go.
Travel down here.
Yeah. All righty. Again, congratulations to all the recipients. And now I would like to introduce our speaker. Erik Libby, the founder and CEO of the To-Do Dudes, a fast-growing home service company that hires local students to help homeowners with moving, yard work, and odd jobs. Since launching in 2020, the team has completed more than 9,000 projects for over 3,000 customers, generating more than $1 million in revenue. The company's mission is to create meaningful work opportunities for young people while providing reliable help for the community. To-Do Dudes now serves Palm Coast, Ormond Beach, Daytona Beach, Port Orange, and surrounding cities with plans to expand nationwide. Erik, at age 23, also hosts the Built from Scratch podcast, where he interviews entrepreneurs under 30 about how they built their businesses and the lessons they learned along the way. Please welcome Erik Libby.
My name is Erik Libby, and we are the To-Do Dudes. Getting your to-dos to done today. You can dream big, guys. Like, have really ambitious goals. You can do it. Come on.
Everything we do starts with our mission, connecting students to the neighbors of our community while simplifying the search for reliable labor.
One of the catchphrases we have for our team members that come here is we say, you're going to grow and then go. So you're going to come here, you're going to get better, and you're going to the next thing.
Right now I'm reaching out to some business partners to build connections, trying to get more business. And when I'm doing this, they seem to be shocked by one simple thing, getting back to them in a timely manner.
Now, fast forward 3.5 years, we've had the opportunity to serve over 2,000 customers, completing over 4,500 projects. We've grown across Flagler County, North Volusia, and have aspirations to keep expanding.
There is a value in finding a good team, a good leadership team, people that are bought in. So with all that said, I wish you the best of luck, and let's keep crushing it.
All right. Amazing. How are we doing today, guys? Doing good? Excited? Gosh. I am truly, truly honored to be here, be able to be in this presence, see all these next generation right here. You guys realize the opportunity in front of you right now. Like, you guys are just starting your journey. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm so beyond excited to be here and be in the presence. And I think I want to follow up from the 3 winners today. How I want to start this is, that is an amazing accomplishment you guys had, $1,000. We would like to match that today. The To-Dos are going to match that, and you guys are going to get $2,000. So, congratulations, seriously. Congratulations, guys. So exciting. So leading up to the event here, about 3 weeks ago, I talked to Teresa, and she gave me a rundown on how this went. So she said, all right, so Dr. Labassos, he's gonna get up, he's gonna go into the time, he's gonna talk about the students are gonna win their awards. We're gonna have Mr. Lemerand, he's gonna get up here, he's gonna give a rah-rah speech, he's gonna start doing cartwheels around the room, everyone's gonna follow him around. Still waiting on that, we should make that happen, shouldn't we? But she said, in all seriousness, she said that this is an event that's really important to the community, it's meaningful for students in the next generation, and I told her, truthfully, I said, Teresa, why would you ask me? As in, like, I come to you today, I haven't built some massive company, I'm still early in my entrepreneurial journey, and what she said is, you were a Daytona State student, just graduated a few years ago, just starting your entrepreneurial career, and I think you'd be able to relate to the students. And so what that did is, now I'm in reflection mode. I'm like, okay, I get off this phone, and I hear Damon John's been here, I think, at one point, like Truett Kathy, and I'm like, what do I even talk about that comes close to that? So I'm trying to establish my goals for today, and I'm thinking, like, do I talk about how to build an LLC? Do I talk about how to establish the finances of a company, the marketing? And I realized to have any goals, I had to be truthful about a few things. So I want to start there. I'm 23 years old. I still live with my parents, where I graduated in 2022 and I moved back in with them today. I make mistakes on a daily basis. And I'm in the entrepreneurial grind as we speak. As in, I'm not going to come to you today and say, I'm some hotshot, I made it, I'm making millions of dollars, and like, watch this. I'm not going to do that. It's not true. I'm still starting my entrepreneurial journey. That said, it's been 5 years now. We've completed 10,000 projects. We've hired over 125 students since starting. And as the end of October finished, we were $1.3 million in gross revenue. For those of you that haven't heard the To-Do, it's totally cool. We're still a small business. Really where we come in is a student help for household chores. So think like moving, yard work, odd jobs. The simple things. You guys probably all do this for your parents, grandparents around the neighborhood, right? Some people say we're like a glorified personal assistant. And I love this one. We've gotten this so many times. We are a rent-a-grandson or rent-a-granddaughter, right? So just for context. So all that said, giving context on just my thought today, what I want to bring you guys, I really came to 3 goals that I want to highlight. And it's about what entrepreneurship is, to be truthful. You see stuff on social media all the time, probably. I want to keep it real. The first one is entrepreneurship is closer than you think. That said, it's harder than you originally expect. But third and most importantly, it is more fulfilling than you could ever imagine. So I'm going to run through a quick backstory on myself, just so you guys are like caught up to speed on what I've been doing up until 23 years of my life. Grew up in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. I lived there until I was 14 years old, and then my family went on a tropical vacation to Costa Rica. You guys see this right here? 35 negative. Like I was cold this morning when I was outside. It was like 58. It's like 80 degrees colder. So it's 2014, and we're like, you know what? We are out of this place. So we decide we're going to go from Eden Prairie down to Palm Coast, Florida. I go to Matanzas High School. My team right here, Matanzas, let's go. Yeah, come on. Played basketball, golf, baseball. And then I attended Quanta Honors. I was a dual enrollment student, so I came here as a junior and senior. And I had 2 awesome professors, one being in the back right there. We had Ben and Frank. And I saw, it was a pivotal experience for me. It was so transformative when I was that age. I'm glad, Ben, you're here today. This is so cool. But what I was going to say, even if they weren't here, is if he knew that I was speaking today, I was going to have somebody here to go like find him. I'm like, go tell him I'm speaking today, because when I was in high school, my face would get all red. I'd be embarrassed to get on stage, and I did not want to do this. So things have changed a little bit. Come on. I was 2020 grad, so you guys see this is a place across the street, one of the coolest graduations during the middle of COVID, right? That was an awesome thing. We got our diploma as I'm walking, like we're driving across the finish line, right? And they hand it. How cool is that? And so this is where it all began. COVID was on, the world was shut down, and my grandmother, who had a perfectly capable grandson, lived just 2 minutes down the road. Easily accessible by a phone call. So I get calls all the time by grandma. She'd be like, all right, Eric, I need you to come over, and I need you to come take groceries out of the back of my car. Like, it's heavy, I can't do it. So I get in my car, and I drive over and help grandma, and just take the stuff out of her car, and she'd be happy, and then I'd be on my way. Or then it'd be, as you can see, I'm a little bit taller. I don't know if the stage conveys that, but I'd have to grab stuff down, like off that top shelf for grandma, right? And so the agreement was, like, she's not giving me cash to do this. I don't know if any of you guys ever had like this with your grandma, but she would give me like little cookies and like protein bars. Yeah? Anyone have that? Anyone, does it agreement with your grandparents whenever you go there? Yeah, maybe. And so it was a thing, right? So I'd do that, and one day, I go over to her house, and she has 200 bags of these sitting on her front driveway. So I walk in, and I'm like, Grandma, you have a lot of stuff in your driveway. It looks like Lowe's maybe delivered a shipment. I just remember her, this like smug look from Grandma. She's like, yeah, I do. I'm like, she's like, yes, you're going to put them down. Okay. So I'm gonna paint a picture for you guys here. So you guys are going to be, so this is my grandma's house, and then this is going to be like the backyard where I'm laying down the lava rock for her. And then you guys are going to be the golf course that she lives on. Cool? This way is going to be the golf course, right? And so my job is I'm going to lay these down for grandma. And so I got my box cutter. I got the bags. I'm bringing them out to the backyard. I'm ripping them open. I'm laying them down. I'm ripping them open, laying it down. And throughout the day, there's golfers that are coming by on golf carts, and I see them out of the corner of my eye, but for some reason, these people start walking towards me, and I kind of I pull out my earbud, and I was like, kind of curious. And also, too, I'm going to paint another picture. Is I'm probably 100 bags in at this point. Imagine if you've ever done anything with lava rock, you probably have stuff down your legs or down your arms. I probably was wiping my face. I probably had stuff on my face. So just think about the mood that I was probably in at that point, right? This person comes almost skipping towards me. They're like, oh my gosh, Eric, oh my gosh. And like, they're coming this way, oh my gosh. you do this stuff for your grandma? And I'm like, yeah, she asked me to help her. She's like, that is incredible. Oh my God, I've been making phone calls. I don't have grandkids that live in the area. I need a dresser moved from upstairs to downstairs. Is there any chance you could come over and take this out, move it for me? Sure. And she's like, then she got more excited. She's like, do you have like a business card I could take? I'm like, business card? I'm 18. I'm like, give me my phone number. And she said, okay. Put my headphone back in, probably blast my music a little bit louder, and I keep laying it down, keep doing the thing, right? Ripping them open, laying it down, ripping open. Now 15 minutes later, another group comes by. But this time I don't hear that group until they're only a few steps away. And I go like this, and I jump back, and this person's a big smile on their face again. They're like, this is great. Your grandmother's so lucky to have you. Any chance, I've been trying to call some landscapers. I can't get in touch with anyone. Any chance you could come over and just like come look at this thing and maybe help? I'll give you cash for it. And I'm like, 15 minutes apart. This is weird. So I give her my phone number. I go back to it. Not kidding. There was a third group that day, and then a fourth group. 5 groups stopped me that same day and asked for some weird grill cleaning, cleaning out the car, moving furniture. I'm like, okay. I'm telling you, if I wouldn't have gotten it there, I would have been. Thankfully, I got 5 tries at it, because I don't think at 4 it still didn't register. Then 5, I'm like, all right, there has to be an idea here. And so we created this as our first edition of our flyer. And so I have the great ideas. I'm going to print these out with Grandma's printer. Thank you, Grandma. I'm going to print out 60 of these, and I'm going to walk around the neighborhood and pass them out. I called my buddy. I'm like, hey, there's a huge opportunity here. And so start walking around the neighborhood. And there's a couple things I'm going to highlight. I'm going to give you some breadcrumbs, and you, again, are probably going to get it way sooner than I did. I'm going to go ahead and pass these out around an HOA-gated community. Right? Pass them out around an HOA-gated community. But it gets worse. I'm going to pass them out around a gated HOA community, and how am I going to distribute them? I'm going to walk around to the homes, the mailbox up front. I'm going to open up the mailbox and slide it right in. I probably shouldn't even tell you that, because that is illegal. You can't do that. You can't open up people's mailboxes and put it in. Hour goes by. I didn't get all of them distributed, but I was still like doing my dance. I was like pumped up, Got 45 distributed. I'm like, we're getting a ton of business. No chance we don't. So I'm not kidding you. Within an hour, we get our first phone call. So imagine, my phone's down. Within an hour, somebody called us. That's all we need is one call. So I'm all excited. I answer this phone. I pick up and I say, hello. And they said, is this Erik Libby speaking? Yes. And they said, I don't know if it's you or someone else, but you need to cease immediately or further action is going to be taken. Man, I'm just passing around flyers. You cannot be doing that. And so I thought, okay, well, I had this whole business thing. I tried, gave it a shot. Thankfully, my grandmother's next door neighbor gave us a shot and said, you know what, you probably shouldn't put stuff in mailboxes, but still I love entrepreneurship. I love your drive to do it. You're young. I want to help you out. And so this was job number 1. Is removing this plant. This is a picture I found online, but this is how big it was and about the kind of how it looked. So me and my buddy, we're going to take their shovel and their axe that they gave us, the customer, and we're going to remove it. So imagine it's probably this big, right? Those of you over here, literally this big. And so this isn't a 5-minute project. We are shoveling this thing out, and we were probably about 45 minutes in, and you get to the point, if you've ever done yard work before, where you're kind of wrestling with the bush a little bit, trying to get it out. And so at this point, the roots are super thick, and so we're trying to figure out, okay, how do we get this? How do we get, we're taking an axe, we're trying to get this, we're taking an axe to this thing, we're taking an axe, hit it with an axe, and then a little water starts to pool up. Job number 1, remember, first job we ever did. And so I look at my buddy, I'm like, we didn't do that, did we? I was we should probably fix it, right, and kick some dirt in it, and that didn't work. We had to end up getting the homeowners 30 minutes later, half of their pool drained out of this hole. It went from their pool out. Marketing shot, operations shot. How was this even a business? I should not have even tried. Thankfully, and it's just good people in this world, because that would probably would have been the end. I would have stopped immediately. The person said, you know what, you asked us beforehand. You said, are there any pipes here? Is there anything we have to be worried about? And I specifically told you, dig right here. There's no pipes, no electrical, nothing you need to worry about. I need you to go specifically right here. So they didn't make us take care of it, but they totally could have. But sometimes good people, you get lucky. Then we had another call down the street. It started to grow. And then the street over. Then I was helping in a condo building. Then helping up with Christmas decorations later in that year. Doing demolition work. Helping at events and parties. We were just having fun. Like, we were going around and just helping a bunch of people in the community with just chores. Like, again, simple things you guys do every day. I didn't have a bunch of skill set. It just was simple things. And so a lesson here, number one, is how important it is to take action. If you didn't put a formal business plan together, just started. Just started running. You figure it out as you go. That first year, we ended up doing $14,000 in sales, and I was like, this is kind of interesting. We did a 2021 and becoming a real business. So immediately we go from $14,000 that first year. By the end of the second year, we did $87,000 in top-line sales. Start to get a little more professional. You can see the flyer is a little bit better than that first version. Our team is growing. We had some business mentors, advisors. It's like, you need to get an LLC. Probably with what happened in 2020, you probably should get insurance. That probably would be a good thing. I don't know why I didn't do it immediately, but... And just realize that there's a big business opportunity, so we're growing our confidence. Then the story of Deborah came along. This is an embarrassing story, but I got to tell it because it's real. So there was a lady that we met that needed help decluttering her home and prepping for a big move. She's in her 70s, very nice Christian lady, lived by herself. And the job was to get things boxed up, prepared for the movers that were going to come in. So we called on the phone, no red flags, everything seemed right. So we got to her house, and it kind of looked like that. This is an AI photo. This is not, I would not take a picture of what I saw, but it was a hoarder. And so my job was to help her get prepped. I really felt bad. Like, she had nobody else. Nobody else could help her with her situation. So I was like, all right, I want to go in there and see what I can do. And so the mission was we would take items and help her prep the move so she didn't have so much stuff. We're going to bring it to the donation center. And she had one particular thing that was so important that she would not compromise on, no matter what. I didn't understand it, but she made it deliberate. It was so important. I do not want any of my stuff going to Goodwill, right? I was kind of confused, but she's like, please just promise me anywhere but Goodwill. I was like, okay, all right. So I make about 10 to 15 runs to this other local place, and time number, somewhere in that range, 10 to 15, I bring my stuff to the donation center that I've been going to. And they look at me and they say, hey, Erik, a lot of this stuff is junk. Don't want it. We are full. And this, if you remember, this is the time during COVID where everybody was back at home and they were trying to donate all their stuff so they could be at home. And so donation centers were filling up. So I was like, what do I don't want this junk in my car. It doesn't smell very good. I'm going to take it over. So I decided to take it to Goodwill. Hour and a half goes by, and forget about it. I'm doing my thing. I was like, all right, dropped it off and wasn't thinking about it. And I get a call in a panic from Deborah. And she's like, Erik, oh my gosh, Erik, I think we donated one of my family heirlooms. There's a picture that I've had for 30 years, and I can't find it, and I think it's in one of the donation boxes, and I need to go there right now. Can you send me that place you've been going so I can go there right now? And so I said, Deborah, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And she's like, no, I need to go. And I'm like, I'll take care of it, promise. I'll go figure it out. Could have told her, but I didn't. I continued. So I go to the donation center. I go back to Goodwill where I originally donated this and went in the front door and talked to the front desk person. And I said, hey, I donated something. Can I undonate something? And I remember this lady at the front desk laughed in my face and she said, good luck. We've gotten about 1,000 things in this past hour. There is no chance you can find it, but if you want to go, there's the warehouse. You can go look in there. So I'm not kidding you. I recruited 2 people on staff at Goodwill. I'm like, guys, you got to help me find this. Like, you have to help me find this. It's very important. And we spent an hour time looking. They finally said, dude, we got to get back to work. And I'm like, okay. So I spent another 30 minutes. And I have to call her because I couldn't find it. I called her and said, hey, Deborah, I couldn't find it. She said, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I couldn't find it, and I ended up bringing it to Goodwill. And that's what she said. How could you lie to me? I'm so disappointed in you. And so the lesson, and I hate telling that story, but it's real, and your integrity will be compromised. Like, you'll have situations where you have to make a decision, and that scar burns so deep that feeling that I had when she said it on the phone, I'm like, I would never want to do that again. It's so big. It's so important, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, the integrity. We go into 2022, so the story's progressing. This is the year that I almost quit the business. I almost say, like, you know what, I'm going to stop doing this. Our team is growing. We have 2 admin members, one that's doing marketing, operations. We're working on a web app for our company, like designing our own software. And I was still at Stetson just trying to figure things out. That's where I went to school, over in Stetson University. As we get to the family trip of 2022, every year my family likes to go on some Thanksgiving excursion. We'll go to Alaska, we go to Boston, and this year in particular we're going to Maggie Valley in North Carolina and then Tennessee. Has anyone been to either of these places before? Maybe? Okay, a few. Cool. This is 2 weeks before graduation. So the first part of the trip is going to be Maggie Valley, then we're going to go to Gatlinburg after this. And so I'm spending my time, I'm a snowboarder. Any snowboarders in here? I love snowboarding. I know we're in Florida, so that's really hard find. I'm from Minnesota, so that's why. But I was going snowboarding. I'm going down the hill throughout the day. And it finally dawns on me that in 2 weeks, I'm about to graduate, which means this is like, school's not going to be any longer. I'm going to give you the visual. I don't have a chair up here, but I'm going to give you the visual. I'm looking down the snowboard hill, right? And I'm sitting down, and usually when you start snowboarding, you have your feet out, like your board, like ready to go. And I'm looking down this hill, and I'm thinking, there's no way. Did I wait too long? Like 2 weeks, my friends are graduating. They're going to be making way more money than I am. And so I'm thinking, I'm like overthinking. I'm going through all these situations in my head, like, did I wait too long? Did I choose the wrong path? Should I be going and getting a sales job? And it's over and over and over in my mind. It's just this playing loop the entire trip. So I can't get it off my mind. And to go to phase 2 of the trip, we will go to Dollywood. Anyone been to Dollywood? Dolly Parton? Okay, a few more. Cool. So that's up in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And set the stage here. It's the 4 of us, so my family. My mom and dad are off getting dinner, and my brother and I are going, we're like chasing down roller coasters. So we're like going to trying to find the coolest roller coaster. He's off ahead. He's like 50 yards in front of me, like trying to sprint and find this next roller coaster. And we'll just say that the roller coaster is that way. I'm walking, and then for some reason I get my attention drawn to the right. And so like I turn to the right, and there's this little boutique gift shop. And for those of you that know me, I am not at all someone that, I'm an efficiency shopper. I'm not like let's go like look for things and like try and buy something. I'm like in, out, anything like that usually doesn't grab my attention. But for some reason, it did. And so I turn to the right, I walk in while my brother's like waiting on me, and I walk in, and my eyes immediately gravitate towards one particular spot on this wall, and I walk towards it. I'm like, why? And I walk towards it. And this is what it said. And this is a real picture, too. It blew my mind. Walk by faith, not by sight. Walk by faith, not by sight. Beautiful Bible verse in Corinthians, and immediately this presence, I was like, God, I get it. I'm never going to have all the answers. I understand. And so sometimes Even when you guys graduate and you're trying to decide maybe going into your next corporate career, starting a business, like there's so many options on the table. There's so many ways that it could go, but sometimes you just got to pick and run with it. Because you won't have all the data. If you had the perfect plan, it's already too late. You just got to run. So it comes to 2023, and I thought I already made my hardest decision, and now this is where things get even more real. Team's growing. I moved back home with my family. I decided we're taking this entrepreneurship thing in full time. We go from 10 to 23 team members that year. We read this book called Traction, start implementing our KPIs, our mission, our vision, our values of the organization, what our 10-year plan is. We actually expand to Ormond Beach that year, so we started in Palm Coast, come to Ormond Beach, and I'm even learning how to code. Not a coder. I'm a maybe marketing sales guy. I'm not a coder, but I had to do it for what we were building. Then the web app failed. So we spent all this time, invested all this money. We had a student dev team on staff. We hired people overseas to help us with this. I spent 9 months working on it, that this was the future. Team members were happy. Customers were like, okay, they're working on this thing, this next generation, and it failed. So I quickly realized, after customers were sending these messages, so, hey, I thought I booked for today, no one's here. Or team members that were showing up to jobs and saying, hey, I rang the doorbell, and these people have never even heard of the To-Do Dudes before. I'm like, okay. I was not qualified to fix this. We had a student dev team, and they were great, but if anything failed as a business owner, it comes back to you. So I got to a crossroads, and this was a really hard decision with the amount of time that we invested into it. We had half of our team that was in support of continuing the web app. We had half of our team that was like, we need to cut this immediately because there's so many issues that are occurring. So our admin team, our field, like the whole entire organization was split. And so when that happens, as the leader, they look to you to make the decision. What are we going to do? Like both are frustrated. And so I was going back and forth and like trying to make sure everyone was happy and just realized it was creating more of a mess for myself. I had to end up deciding to cut the web app. So lessons on courage, whether, again, entrepreneur or not. You'll have time where people will not believe in what you want to do, your goals, vision. Or maybe you'll have people that are giving you feedback in two completely different directions, and you're not always going to make everybody happy. Because you have to decide, have the courage, you know what, I believe in myself and I will make it work, even if everybody isn't on board completely with my plan. So 2024, it's all about raising the standard. So a lot of things changed coming to this year. We won the Next Generation Award with the former mayor of Palm Coast that year. We cut the web app, but we launched an app to the App Store with a company that actually built it for us rather than us building it ourselves internally, which is way better. We end up having a customer support hire who, this is Luis, he's our general manager now. I'm so proud of him. He's probably watching this video, so Luis, I'm so proud of you. But he was our customer support and then our general manager. But before we made that hire, we made a costly one. So at the end of 2023, it was December 1st, we put a job post out on Indeed, and we were going to try and find our next customer support rep. And so throughout this process, we had 30 applicants come in, which really isn't that many, but we had 30, and so we thought it was a good amount. At the end of December, we reevaluate, and we're like, all right, so we got to make this hire January 1st, be prepared as we come into the new year. And out of the 30, when we review it, 15 of them have sentences that are probably more than one written. So like 15 of them did only have one sentence or a lot of misspelled words. So like 15 were immediately thrown out of the pile. Out of the 15 we email them, we only hear back from 10. Out of the 10, we tried to set up a Zoom call to do an interview. Out of the 10, only 6 showed up for the interview. And out of the 6 that showed up, 3 were like, okay, there's no shot we can put them in front of our customers. And so you'd think after all that, the red flag after red flag after red flag, that we'd finally get it, like, okay, we probably should reevaluate what we're doing for our hiring process. No. We ended up deciding on one of the three, and so our team came together at an admin meeting. We said, okay, we want to, I think it was 3 of us on the admin staff at the time, and we were like, okay, let's go with this person. They seem like they're going to be the next customer support rep. They'll be great. And so we made the decision the previous night. In the morning, we get an email before we communicated at all to from that person, and they said, I'm going to drop out of the race. 2 minutes later, literally 2 minutes later, they say, hey, sorry, never mind, ... I'm still in. And so it's like, okay, now what do we do? Like, this is interesting. We just saw 2 emails back to back of I'm dropping out and then back in. Of course, what I did was we continued to hire them. They spent 2 months, didn't work out. And the cost was much greater. It wasn't financially, it wasn't like the money we paid for the 2 months, but it's the broken trust with now our team and our customers that, hey, we're in this next generation, we are increasing our staff, we're going to make this way better. Now you're going to have somebody that's going to be on phones all the time for you, ready to go. And within 2 months, I have to flip and say, hey, sorry, all that I just said, let's throw everything I just said out the window and we're doing something different. And so team members were scared. They were like, okay, this is like, we just met this person training, and I mean, why is this changing? Is a company going under? And so it was a quick meeting. I had a call with the team and said, hey, if you're in, we got to keep running. If you're not, I completely understand, but we got to keep running. Like, this is a mistake we made. We got to keep going. That hurt. That was a culture hit at the beginning of 2024. It took us a while to recover from that. And I just realized, like, as I'm trying to point fingers in a bunch of directions, I'm like, the person that we hired, the people that helped me hire them, came back down to me. Had to take accountability for it. It was no one else's fault but mine. I lowered my standard. And so the lesson here is on excellence. When you guys bring your best to something, you will get the best in return. When I, in this moment, decrease the standards, now our customers are saying, wow, this is a terrible experience, I'm not coming back. Team members are saying, I'm frustrated because I feel like I haven't gotten the attention that I need. So it's like you lower your bar, and it's like short term, you may be fine, but the problem is long term. That was a lasting effect months after that person left. So now we come to 2025 Today in Business. Now we're in Daytona. We were featured in the Daytona News Journal. In Port Orange, now also just recently came into New Smyrna Beach, north of Highway 44. We launched a membership to our customers this year. We turned 5 as a business. Isn't this a great photo? It's a little birthday cake there. 5 years in business. And to date now, we've now served over 3,500 customers. We've completed over 10,000 projects now. 645 star reviews, $1.3 million in sales, 450,000 coming this year, and 34 active dudes on staff. But I want to return back to the goal. That wasn't the point. I told you today I'd say entrepreneurship is closer than you think. It's harder than you expect, but it is more fulfilling than you can imagine. When I hear the stories from students that come up to me and say, Eric, check out this truck I got. I bought it with To-Do Dude's money. Or I hear they say, hey, I don't have a ton of money, but I'm putting this into school so I can invest in my future learning. Or maybe saying, in maybe some fortunate cases, maybe you guys can relate to this, is, hey, I'm living at home right now. I don't need a ton to live on. So in their case, I'm living off my tips for my gas and my food, and everything else is going into an investment account. Or maybe those that are divorced and widowed and living on their own, or maybe the veterans or the people that just simply need an extra hand. Hearing all those stories, and they say that there's no one else that I could count on besides you. It's the impact that you can create through entrepreneurship that fuels all of the hard days. Leading up to this event, I looked at some of the stats, and I wanted to make sure I was prepared and ready and able to answer any questions. And one of the stats I found that I thought was monumental and truly it almost made me emotional to think about is since starting our company, we have now paid out over $700,000 in wages to local young young professionals and students. As in, like, $700,000 is going to Palm Coast, Ormond, Daytona, Port Orange, New Smyrna Beach, students in the next generation. It's crazy. And it's like impact. It was an accident. I didn't mean to start a business. And so I'll end with this quote as I finish our time here. So great quote by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If anyone's ever read that book, it's a great book. Starting a business is like jumping out of an airplane without a parachute. In midair, the entrepreneur begins building a parachute and hopes it opens before hitting the ground. I think we get caught up in needing to have the perfect plan before we start. Like, things have to be perfect. Like, once I have this, then I'll get going on it. I just highlight, I want to keep things as real as I can. I hope in the Q&A we can continue that. Like, ask me like deep questions. I want to be real. All of this stuff I did not prepare for. I did not prepare for my integrity to be challenged. I did not prepare for having to make courageous decisions when I'm getting hit on both sides. It's like, you don't prepare for that stuff. But you figure it out as you go, and that's the most fulfilling part about it. So students, ladies and gentlemen, truly the next generation of leaders that I believe are going to change this world. I'm honored, humbled, and I'm so grateful for your time today. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I have another young man to introduce today, Antonio Valley. If you'll come up, Antonio, and join us. Antonio is a student here at Daytona State College. He is the Student Government Association president, studying for accounting. He wants to go into tax law, which is amazing in and of itself and highly needed. So we are proud to have you here. He is going to start our Q&A, and then he'll ask a couple of questions, and then if any of you in the audience have questions, I'll run around with the microphone and make sure you get those answered. And then, of course, Erik will hang out for a few minutes afterwards if you're not comfortable asking your question with a microphone. So, Antonio?
Good morning, everyone. It's still morning. Yeah. So I want to start by saying thank you so much for coming out here. I can't express our gratitude for you taking the time out of your, I'm sure, very busy week to come here and share with all these aspiring young people, making sure that they have this information. Because you've given us, 5 years of business experience right here, that these are lessons that you learned and now you've shared with them. And one of the things that I was really curious about listening to you speak is you said that you started when you were 18. One of the things that I've heard continuously from my friends growing up, even I told this to myself when I was younger, was like, I'm too young, I can't make this work. And we have so many people who, we have a lot of, I'm sure people were younger than that, but who want to do great things, but are a little bit scared about the age, the age issue. So did that thought ever cross your mind? Did you ever have worries about, I'm too young for this, I don't know if I can do it?
I think I had no intention of starting a business. I think it was just like my grandmother's neighbor asked for help. I was like, let's, simply flyers. But I think that's the thing to reflect on is why at 16 or 15 or even young, why could you not just knock on the neighbor's door and say, hey, can I help you with if you know the neighbors, of course, don't go knocking on random doors, but it's like the skill set. You don't have to be an expert. You just got to kind of start and you figure it out. So again, I didn't have the idea of just I'm going to go full blown into the business. And you see these big entrepreneurs, they started somewhere. They didn't start slinging billion-dollar businesses around. They started with zero. Nobody cared what they were doing. Nobody wanted to buy their product or service, and they just got more experience and got better and better and better and better. So it's just kind of start. And I think another big thing is identifying your skill set. What are you good at? Is it maybe graphic design, or are you good at? For me, it was just probably not too much. Just I could provide labor. I'm a little bit bigger, so that kind of helped. But it's maybe tutoring, maybe walking dogs. You love pets or something, those type of things.
All right, thank you. And one of the other things that I think kind of bleeds off of that initial idea is the thought of making mistakes, especially with school. I'm sure we're all very afraid of missing a question on a test or messing up in class and looking foolish. And so we kind of developed that thought, at least I did, of being afraid to make a mistake. And one of the things that I saw frequently was mistake after mistake after mistake. But it seemed that instead of, and no offense to you, but,
It's so accurate.
but one of the things that I saw was instead of it sounding like you were really getting down on yourself, instead you were taking away these lessons from it. Like every mistake had a lesson. But I'm curious, like, what kept you going? I mean, like, obviously, like, that was, at least for me, I'd be on myself if I just split somebody's wire in the yard. So what really kept you going when you were, like, making all these mistakes?
I think it's just like the belief in knowing that if I didn't stop, that I would figure it out. And kind of, you're almost naive when you first start and you don't realize the mistakes. Like I had no idea that was even in the cards that I could break a pool pipe. I didn't think that was like in reality that could happen. And so I think I'm kind of like, shoot, okay, well, this probably means that I can't continue in business, but we got another phone call. So I think like, as I didn't stop, like if I would have stopped and immediately said, hey, no, business is done, that next call could have still come, but I would have said, nope, I can't do it. But I get to these mistake moments and just like, you know what? It feels terrible right now. Like some of these other ones, like when I talk about the story of Deborah or later on cutting the web app, I'm like every day of work when I know that there's animosity or people frustrated or customers and I'm not able to please as much as I'm hoping for, like you can feel that, but I'm like, you know what, like I will get through this, I will keep going. And that's, it's not some like rocket science thing, like it has, like you won't be perfect, but it's like, again, I made a mistake and now I'm just gonna keep walking. I'm gonna keep figuring out, I'm gonna find another avenue and then try my best not to make a mistake like that again. So anytime that there is a digging job, we clearly ask, and now we have insurance, so now it's like, okay, you can start to mitigate some of those risks. Yeah.
Thank you. This is enough of me asking you questions. I'm very interested to hear what the crowd might have, some questions that somebody
right
might
over
have.
here already. Cool. I had a boss one time tell me, it's okay to make a mistake, just don't make the same one over and over and over. So all of yours were different, right? Yeah. And that's important.
So I think they can probably hear me. I don't do well on the microphone. So when I was your age, I was going to night school. My mom said, I want to come home from work today and the garage door better be painted. So I painted it. And while I was doing that, a bunch of people from the neighborhood came around and said, hey, I want something painted in my house. And suddenly I was a painter. And then somebody said to me, hey, can you do wallpaper? I was like, I don't know anything about wallpaper.
That's exactly, you're describing exactly, yeah.
So I actually went and I took a class at the paint store on how to do wallpaper. But the question is, when you get a job that you've never done before, okay, you've pushed a lawnmower 1,000 times. You don't need to learn how to push a lawnmower again. But when somebody comes to you and says, hey, I want this electrical outlet changed, and you're not an electrician, or when you send somebody out there, how are you training your people and how are you getting them ready to basically represent you?
100%. So that's another lesson, not encapsulated in any of my 5 year that I put on. When I started, I was trying to do everything. So I were a couple times where broken vases that I was moving, really expensive items. That was a joke. I shouldn't have done that. Another one was getting on top of a roof, which you need a special license for. I was climbing on top of roofs. I almost fell off a roof once, and I'm like, I should not be doing this. Nor should we have any students or younger professionals that don't really know what they're doing. So I think as we started, it was like I was doing taxi service, dog sitting, like literally everything you can imagine that was like not electrical work or like more advanced handyman stuff. And then the more and more that we niche down, just realize that here is the projects that we do the best at. Here is typically what results in the best customer experience where people are like 5 stars. And then here's the ones that usually create the most issues. And so more of a recent one is we used to advertise cleaning a lot for one of our services. But some people prefer more technical and detail-orientedness, and we're like, you know, we get this request only about 5% of the time. It usually leads to the most, or the lowest rating out of any other jobs that we do, so we end up cutting that. We don't advertise that anymore. We can still do a wide array, but we realize that it's like people want us for laborious tasks that are kind of the simple chores they would probably do, but just physically or maybe don't have the time to do. And so that's what we've really nailed down on. But a lot of like broken items, unhappy customers that we had to like, okay, got it, we can't do that. We should adjust and like make sure we can do something that we're delivering on every time. But that when I fell off the roof, almost fell off the roof, like I was hanging with one, I was like, we can't be doing this anymore. Yeah. MHS, let's go. Come on.
What would you say was your favorite part about starting your business?
I think it's the impact for sure. I think like back to one of the last slides I had is you will for sure have good and bad days. And I feel like as an entrepreneur, your good bad days are even like disproportionately wider. You have like really big wins, but then really big losses. And I think it's the knowingness that when things go down, it's like, gosh, we have to remember back to the values that we have as an organization, and then the impact we're able to create. Like that number like scared me. I was like, wow, that's crazy. But I think if you can find that in what you're doing and like the passion behind it, then those distributed good and bad days are not nearly as halting to continuing as an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying?
Hello. So I wanted to ask you, like, since you're doing like a handyman business, how would you differentiate yourself from other businesses? And also, since I heard you said you give out $700,000 to schools like this, how do you plan on benefiting from that? Like, what is your ultimate goal?
No. That's wages paid out.
Oh.
So that's like like our team in the field working.
Okay, but how do you benefit from that? Like, what is your
value prop?
Because I understand that you want to expand your company to other states and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So how are you spending multiple funds on stuff like that with, only get a decent amount of money?
So we got two things. So differentiation and then the payment of like labor costs.
Yeah, how do you explain like how you're spending all this money on what you said,
Yeah.
schools, and like trying to open up your company more, like, to spread out, to go to other states that you...
For sure. Okay, so I'll tackle first one first. So the differentiation, we have three uniques about our company. One being, and this is what has crushed for us as a business and why I think we keep getting opportunities, is we say on time, every time, which for the industry standard, it's very hard to get people to show up at all, but show up on time is a whole nother thing. So our team is drilled on like, this is like what we need to do is on time, every time. Second one is one-stop shop. So being able to, like somebody in one visit can call us. Like in this is different than a moving company. So a moving company, imagine they're gonna load your truck and they're gonna leave. But how we come in with just being the labor is we can help you move some furniture, but we can also assemble your furniture. And if you need your back patio swept off and you need something grabbed out of your attic, it's really tough to find somebody that does something like that that's probably vetted or insured. It's probably going to be some like neighborhood person that's running around, which I was at the beginning, and then kind of built more around it. And the third one is empowering students. So people know when you hear the to-do dudes, we focus on hiring as much as we can. Some people are on like a gap year, but most of them are students at either a high school or a university. And so that's one where people are like, gosh, I think what we hear a lot is I love supporting the next generation. It's going to a good place when we do that. So does that answer question one? Okay, so question two, you said, where is that money going? And for clarity, it's not that we're donating this money to schools. Think about this. So we have a job that we fulfill. We charge a customer a certain value. So our hourly that we charge a customer is $44 an hour, right? We will pay the team a portion of that. So the team will get a portion for their hourly plus a bonus if they hit certain milestones. And so that $700,000 is them helping out customers. So there's gross earnings that we're actually getting on that. Like we're bringing in sales. It's not like that money is just like, here's $700K, let's put this over here and we got to run our business. Like that's part of the, you'd say cost of goods sold to actually run the business. Got it? Okay, cool.
Got one back here and then one over here and then the last one will be right here.
So when people, I try to own a business and people are like, you're too young to own a business. How do you deal with the people that say you're too young to own something?
How old are you?
I'm 14.
14 years old? That's amazing first that you're doing that. That is incredible. I think there's always a relative degree of stigma you're going to get. I mean, I think when I walk into a room, I'm 23 and people are like, yep, like you're just figuring this thing out. I'm like, yeah, that's true. But I think oftentimes if people see a hustle, like they see like I'm on it, like I'm ready to provide a lot of value, like that alone will get you by so many other people that you're 14, but you have 24-year-olds, 34, 44 that barely get out of the bed and won't really do any work. And so I think you really have to outwork at the beginning to differentiate. And then when it comes to the technicality, I'm not sure with an LLC and stuff and all that before 18, but I know we have one of our to-do dudes in the audience today. Autumn, I think you started under your family, right? Yeah, so it's like you can do it like under your family, and then you can still operate the business, but they can start the LLC. Cool? Cool.
If you had to start over today, what would you do differently?
Besides not breaking the pool.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Well, no, that will kind of help, though.
It was a good learning. Yeah, it was a good learning. I feel like if I want to accelerate the growth, I feel like there's a lot of value in giving away free stuff to start. So, for example, if you're going to start we'll say car detailing business, this concept now is burned into my mind, but it wasn't at the beginning, is lead with value at the beginning and say, all right, I will clean your car for free in exchange for maybe a video testimonial or maybe a referral to someone you know. And so like, you're going to be so bad at the very beginning, like your car detailing, if you've never done it before and you want to charge someone, it's not only the money you're paying them, like you're probably going to do a pretty bad job or they're going to have to fix it. Because if it's your first time ever, you don't have any experience. So what I'd recommend is like get some experience on your belt, give away for free, get testimonials, referrals, and then once you get too busy for that, then you up the price a little bit. And then your book of business gets full and then you up the price again. And you keep doing that, and as you do more and more reps with anything, whether sports, business, whatever, school, you're going to get better naturally. So it's like, then that's when your price starts to increase and the value you provide the customer, they're willing to pay more. So I think that's the biggest thing is like start by giving stuff for free. It doesn't sound like a business, but it definitely leads into that. Cool.
Well, there was someone in here that I said, okay, I'm going to let you pass this down to that young lady.
So I don't know if you covered this already, but so I know you said that you had no intent of starting a business. So like I'm a freshman. So did you ever take like business, marketing, entrepreneurship, or anything like that?
In high school?
Yeah.
Not really, to be honest. So I grew up, my mom's a real estate agent. My dad is in software sales. So like I've been around sales, but not really like entrepreneurship is all these different components that are all put together. And I really hadn't been exposed to true entrepreneurship until I started kind of doing it. My parents were encouraging because they have, my mom basically, as a real estate agent, you're kind of a business. Like, you know, I mean, you're your own boss basically. And so that kind of helped me, but there was so many things and pieces that she didn't know. And in school, I didn't really learn that until I went to Stetson in 2020. So I started the business in May of 2020, and then I started, and it was a COVID year, so this is kind of weird. I was from afar, but August 2020 is when I started Stetson and started to take some of those classes. But in high school, almost no exposure. I thought being an entrepreneur was like miles past me, and I would never do that. Like that didn't seem like something I'd want to do. Yeah.
From a young lady that I know is already an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Hello. So as an entrepreneur, we can try to do everything ourselves, but we know that to grow, we need to delegate. So what was your process when it came to adding help, whether that be employees, mentors, or partners?
That's a great question, Autumn. I feel like I'm kind of learning that as I'm going right now, because I feel like I don't know if I have a full polished answer on that. I think what my best answer would be is I do something until my work is like kind of like an accordion. So I'll get to points where delegation, I'll train this person, and it'll kind of like, there'll be a lot to do, and then I'll train someone new, and then I'll have less, and then we'll grow as a company, and it'll be more and more and more. And so I think I get to the point where I've learned the skill that I can delegate. So I'm competent enough in it where if somebody joins, I can give feedback on that point rather than just like, okay, I've never done this before, hire, because I don't even know what to look for. I don't even know, like, are you doing a good job or not? Like, I at least have tried to do that. I don't know. I haven't had enough data points to say that that's 100% the answer, but at least what I've seen when we've hired on more admin staff is like, it's kind of like that accordion. Once you get to a point where you're like, shoot, I'm working 70, 80, 90 hours, okay, we gotta probably dial this down and then hire somebody else to help with that role. And then set clear expectations on what it is. There shouldn't be gray area. It's like, this is how you win, here are the deliverables, here is like win, loss, very clear. Way better to set those expectations early than later, and I've been humbled on that point hundreds of times. So,
when you hire people, do you look at if they have insurance or not?
When we hire people, like as in like when we hire team members?
Yes.
Well, they wouldn't have to have insurance because we insure them. So we have workers' comp and then GL, general liability policy on all of our jobs we complete. So they wouldn't have to have anything. If you're referring to what we look for with the team members, which I feel like is a really good question, is like to how we vet, look for people that are well-dressed, they show up, they're eager, they have energy, they're on time. Like there's so many little data points that you guys learn probably to some degree in school that's really important. But back to the question, the insurance thing, they don't have to have insurance before they come.
Did you ever thought of doing insurance first before you ever started a business?
Are you saying do I wish I would have had it?
Yeah.
I mean, we made it out okay, but would I recommend that? No. Yeah, good question.
As we come to a close, Antonio, I'd like to ask you to close us out with a question. Here at Daytona State, we talk a lot about entrepreneurship, but we talk about entrepreneurial mindset. So whether you're an entrepreneur starting a business or you want to be an accountant, maybe you are going to start a business, but you may start out working with someone else in a firm. So from what you heard from Erik today and some of the questions from the students, if there's people out here that say, well, that's all good and well, but I don't want to start a business. Not everybody does. What are your takeaways in that aspect to think like an entrepreneur?
I think, is this one of the things that I think I gathered the most out of everything, and I asked him about this earlier, was mistakes, failures, and the lessons learned. Every year, he was giving us some kind of lesson that he picked up from mistakes that he made, and I think of all the things that I heard, that mindset of continually learning, and despite when you fail, instead of getting down on yourself, being like, man, I can't make this, I can't do this, instead sitting there and saying, you know what, I made a mistake, I'm going to learn from this mistake, I'm never going to repeat this mistake again, I'm going to keep growing, I'm going to keep moving forward instead of stopping right there. Because, I mean, as you mentioned earlier, if he had, cut that pool pipe or whatever and it was, man, I can't do this, I'm done. When that next call came and he just kind of closed the door, that would have been the end of it. He wouldn't have been here today, but instead he kind of kept rolling with it, learned that lesson. And yeah, I mean, there was probably a little bit of luck involved with that. But he still continued with that lesson. Like, he kept pushing forward despite that mistake, and now he has continued to grow over years and years. And I think that's that mindset that no matter what you do, no matter what field you're going into, learning from your mistakes, keep growing, because you have to be a lifelong learner.
Great, thank you. I know I put you on the spot there. We didn't rehearse that. Great, great. It just came to me. So great answer. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. If you are a high school student, just stay seated, and Kristen will come up and direct you. We have food for you. You're going to get tours, all the things. But pizza's always a hit, Kristen. So stay seated, and we'll give you directions. But let's give Erik one more big round of applause. And lastly, let's please thank Mr. Lemerand again for all of his gracious generosity. And you heard Dr. Labasso at the beginning talk about this. Was originally started by Bernie Simpkins, and his daughter happens to be in the audience too. So Jill, thank you so much for all you do. And with that, we stand adjourned. Thank you.